One of the things I love about teaching live classes is the interaction and checking in with where people are at and where in that moment their feeling would be helpful for them to release. And in this morning's class, we explored that. And what came up was actually wanting to feel more connected to and release around the chest and the heart area, which connects to our ability to breathe freely and the comfort and mobility of our shoulders, the use of our arms. So it was very much focused around this area. And from that, I want to share with you a really simple way that you can release any sense of holding and tension around the chest. It can be a really deeply protective pattern that we can get so skilled at over time of holding ourselves closed here. And functionally, that affects our ability to breathe freely. And it affects our energy levels if our breathing is always being restricted, no matter how little or how much. And it also connects with our heart space. There is good reason why this is an area that we might learn and become very skilled at keeping closed. This might be an area of carrying and wearing a lot of protective armor. So if you are feeling drawn just to become a little more open, a little softer, through your heart space, through your upper chest, this is a wonderful, gentle, and effective way of beginning to reconnect and release with this part. So we'll begin with eyes closed or a soft gaze. And what can be really helpful to feel more clearly is first pay attention to sensations around your heart space area. What are you able to actually sense and feel in this moment? And how far beyond your chest, your heart space, do you feel sensations? Or if there's very little feeling around your heart space and chest area, at what point beyond that do you feel the first sensations? Maybe it's around the neck and the shoulders. Maybe it's lower down into your belly and your gut. And then we'll use our hands. These are gold for helping us to become more aware and skilled at sensing and feeling ourselves from the outside. So pop your hands on your chest, anywhere around your heart space, and just notice, without trying to change anything, what movement is taking place here that connects with your breath, because movement and breath are forever entwined, and one can help us to bring awareness to the other. Is there a sense of rise, expansion, and sinking back down as you breathe in and out? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And if you have a hand on either side of your chest, do you get a feeling that actually there is more movement in one side than the other? Does it feel like your chest moves your hands differently? And because this area isn't isolated, it's connected, the muscle functions here are connected to these powerful belly muscles down here. Keeping one hand high up on your chest, your other hand lower down on your belly. And again, just observe, is there a sense of connection and flow between your hands? And then we're going to come into the very intentional and deliberate way of moving that helps us to soften and open up here. But we've got to go into what's being held there to start with. So it might help to go into this on an exhale, but just continue to breathe in what feels like the easiest, softest, most natural way for you. We're not trying to create a certain breath here. But if it helps as you breathe out, go into this on an exhale. You're going to tighten your belly and let your chest literally collapse and sink down. So you're closing the space. You're literally closing the space, shortening the space between your hands. And keeping your face forward, so your chin is almost going to tip up to compensate for this collapse and hiding of your front. And then just decide you can't be bothered to hide anymore. You're going to soften and release. Not by pushing or pulling, but just reducing the effort back to zero. Take a couple of breaths where you land, and then let's go into that again. You're going to let your chest collapse. Notice how that pulls your shoulders forward, your belly tightens, and feel the rounding of your spine. To tighten and close in and protect our front, our spine rounds. So this is where that position, that kind of posture comes from. Tightening in the front, rounding in the back. Feel into where you're deliberately tightening here. Can you feel you've gone into that protective state? And then as many breaths softly as it takes, just gradually releasing, like you're just taking your foot off the accelerator and burning less and less energy until you feel that space return, that openness. And you might take a sighing breath, a breath of relief at the top because you can breathe again. You're not having to hide anymore. And then I'm going to guide you through one more variation that really speaks into this chest area, into this heart space. So you can rest your arms by your side now. And think about sending your breastbone back between your shoulder blades as your shoulder blades roll forward. So this is that typical rounded posture. And we're going to roll and squeeze our arms into our sides a little bit and really feel and see how you're narrowing and closing your heart space. And then from the very center, from the breastbone, as many breaths as it takes, begin to soften and release. Not by pulling back, but merely by allowing this to soften. Notice where you land. And then we can come into this one more time, and you might notice your lower back and your belly coming into this, even without thinking about it, because it's a whole pattern. It's not just here. Go ahead and close your chest. Roll the shoulders forward, the arms roll into your sides. You might feel your tailbone tuck under. That's a deeply protective position, protecting our front. It also comes from slumping over a desk all day. And then really put your awareness in the front and how the sensations change. Feel the difference from tightening and closing to allowing yourself to open and soften. And then give yourself a moment wherever you've landed to feel into that. And then to experience the space that you've created from those deliberate movements. Let's just explore the opposite. So leading with your breastbone now. Could you bring your breastbone forward as your shoulders draw back? And let your belly, imagine a little Buddha belly going on here. Let your belly expand. You could have your hands on there as a reminder. Now you're arching your spine. Can you feel that? Can you feel that tightening of those back muscles? The front is expanding in joy because it can now. And then soften the arch. Deflating back to rest. Not by sucking in, just by softening the back. And then let yourself observe the sensations from where your muscles have landed you. Take a few breaths there. Notice your sense of uprightness and your openness across the chest, the heart, anywhere else. You could pop a hand back on your belly and above on your chest. And again, just observe what movement takes place now with your breath. Is there a little more going on there? Just from a few very intentional, deliberate, yet gentle movements. And if you have your hands either side of your chest, around your heart space, again, just observing. Is there more movement? Not because you're trying, but just because that is now your baseline. There is just more flow, more movement, more breath. There's more of you facing out into the world. So enjoy that openness, enjoy the boost of energy that will come from being able to breathe more easily. And if we haven't met, my name is Karen. I am founder of Somatic Habit. I guide people through this practice through weekly classes in more detail and more depth with coaching through my 90-day program. And I'm here to share everything I've learned about what it is to be a Soma and to live an autonomous, empowered, and joyful feeling life.